जनरञ्जना यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस इसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्री श्री गुरु एंड गौरंगा। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। अष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ग्रंथ श्रीमद् भागवतम कैंटो 9 चैप्टर 21 text 21 through 25. We will recite 25. Okay, that's 9:21. Okay. सकृत्व्यां शुककन्यायां ब्रह्मदत्तम् अजीजनात् योगी स गविभार्यायां विश्वक्षेणमधात्सुतम्। सकृतव्यां शुककन्यायां ब्रह्मदत्तम् अजीजनत् योगी स गविभार्यायां विश्वक्षेणम् अधात्सुतम्। सकृतव्यं शुककन्यायां ब्रह्मदत्तम् अजीजनत् योगी सवगविभार्यायां विश्वक्सेन मधात्सुतम् So when it says read, is it read or read? Is it past tense or instruction? So I'm supposed to read, correct? Okay. So text 25. Saha he, King Nipa, Kritavyam, in his wife Kritvi, Shuka Kanyayam, who was the daughter of Shuka, Brahmadattam, his son named Brahmadatta, Ajijanat, begot, Yogi, a mystic, Yogi, oh sorry, a mystic yogi. My eyes are just terrible. Saha, that Brahmadatta, Gavi, by the name Gau or Saraswati, Bharyayam, in the womb of his wife, Vishwaksenam, Vishwaksena, Adhat, begot, Sutam, a son. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I will read from 21, 22, 21 also. Okay. From King Hasti came 3 sons named Ajamedha, Dvimedha, and Purumedha. The descendants of Ajamedha, headed by Priyamedha, all achieved the position of Brahmanas. Purport. This verse gives evidence confirming the statement of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Text 22. From Ajamedha came a son named Brihadishu, and from Brihadishu came a son named Brihadhanu. From Brihadhanu a son named Brithakaya, and from Brihatkaya a son named Jayadratha. The son of Jayadratha was Vishada, and his son was Senajit. The sons of Senajit were Ruchirashva, Dridhadhanu, Kashya, and Vatsa. The son of Ruchirashva was Para, and the sons of Para were Pritusena and Nipa. Nipa had 100 sons. In today's verse, King Nipa begot a son named Brahmadatta through the womb of his wife Kritvi, who was the daughter of Shuka. And Brahmadatta, who was a great yogi, begot a son named Vishwaksena through the womb of his wife Saraswati. Purport. The Shuka mentioned here is different from the Shukadeva Goswami who spoke Srimad Bhagavatam. Shukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, is described in great detail in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. There it is said that Vyasadeva maintained the daughter of Jabali as his wife, and that after they performed penances together for many years, he placed his seed in her womb. The child remained in the womb of his mother for 12 years. And when the father asked the son to come out, the son replied that he would not come out unless he was completely liberated from the influence of Maya. Vyasadeva then assured the child that he would not be influenced by Maya, but the child did not believe his father, for the father was still attached to his wife and children. Vyasadeva then went to Dwaraka and informed the personality of Godhead about his problem. And the personality of Godhead, at Vyasadeva's request, went to Vyasadeva's cottage, where he assured the child in the womb that he would not be influenced by Maya. Thus assured, the child came out, but he immediately went away as a Parivrajaka Acharya. When the father, very much aggrieved, began to follow his saintly boy, Shukadev Goswami, the boy, created a duplicate Shukadeva, who later entered family life. Therefore, the Shuka Kanya, or daughter of Shukadeva, mentioned in this verse is the daughter of the duplicate or imitation Shukadeva. The original Shukadeva was a lifelong brahmachari. I don't know how to explain it. Any questions? Or we can done very soon. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Sva Padantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I think as part of our brahmachari training, in the curriculum you should include how to make a duplicate of yourself, even if you don't teach anything else. And when the family members ask, what you going to do? The answer should be very good. As soon as I finish a couple of years, I'm ready. They'll be very happy. And you send home a duplicate. Continue happily, and the duplicate will also continue happily. So there are a few things, like any pastime in Bhagavatam, there are a few events that defy the normal course of how life seems to be for any one of us like normal human beings. Generally, in a human being, the gestational period for pregnancy is 40 weeks. And for the embryo to go from whatever single cell into a full-grown baby ready to be born. And those 9 months or 40 weeks for the mother is not an easy ride. In some cases, it's easier. In some cases, it's difficult, but never an easy ride. Everything in the anatomy changes or is reorganized as the womb expands. All the organs are pushed aside. And you're carrying almost 20 pounds of stuff, baby and all the amniotic fluids and all the fun stuff. So it's never easy. And then there is the whole process of delivery and labor pain. And so different people have different grades and degrees of ease and difficulty of delivering a child. But generally it's 40 weeks. And thanks to Dr. Cesar, some guy, there's a new method. If it's later than 40 weeks or something, they have a new methodology called the cesarean, the C-section, where they pull the baby out through surgery. In this case, it was not 40 weeks, it was not 80 weeks, it was not 120 weeks, it was a full 12 years. It was almost a teenager. My son is 13. He's taller than I am now. So when he was 12, he was almost as tall as I am, or probably a couple of inches shorter. Imagine him being in Hemangi's womb. Of course, we are not Vyasadeva or anything, but you get just the picture of it is so... how is it possible that he stayed there for 12 years? And was very learned already. So learned that when he was asked, we've been waiting. Imagine Jabali's daughter carrying this person for 12 years of pregnancy like this. Won't come out. So finally when Vyasadeva said, what's going on? Please come. No. The world out there is full of Maya. A child from the womb speaking of Maya. Of course, this is Vyasadeva's seed, so it must be very, very special, no doubt about it. And it's described that he placed the seed in his wife's womb after both performed tapasya for many, many years. So naturally the child is very amazingly advanced. So advanced that before birth says, I want to be liberated. Otherwise I won't come. So Vyasadeva says, sure, you will not be. Maya will not touch you. But he can't believe his father's words. Because he sees that his own father is, I guess, embroiled in family life. So he had to believe someone. So Vyasadeva got Lord Krishna to assure him, yes, whatever is the case, thou shalt never be affected by Maya. Only on that assurance, then he said, okay, I will take birth. I'm sure the mother was very relieved to have the child come out. And so as soon as the child comes out, he walks out of home, just goes away. So in early chapters of Bhagavatam, we hear Vyasadeva running after his son. Oh, my dear son, come back. Oh, my dear son, come back. He didn't come. He didn't want to be part of this whole setup. So he had to recite certain verses of Bhagavatam for him to pause and say, wow, what is that? And it's the verses of the Bhagavatam that actually stunned and stopped Shukadeva Goswami from walking away. And all the Bhagavatam was recited to him so that he would then relay it back to Parikshit Maharaj. So here's an important bit of information. That this Shukadeva Goswami created a duplicate of himself. And that duplicate went on to becoming the father of this young girl by the name Gau or Saraswati, who married Kritvi, who was the daughter of Shuka, and Brahmadatta, who was the great yogi, begot a son named Vishwaksena through the womb of his wife Saraswati. So Saraswati and Kritvi are all so we might wonder what happened. So Prabhupada's clarifying the two different Shukadeva Goswamis. One is the original and the other is the expansion or the duplicate or imitation Shukadeva. And the original Shukadeva Goswami remained a lifelong brahmachari. Shukadeva Goswami's purpose, primarily, his life was designed and his appearance was designed with a purpose in mind. And the purpose was that he was going to be the instrument for the dissemination of Srimad Bhagavatam to people at large. The people at large means somehow the situation had to be created where Parikshit Maharaj would be the direct recipient, and then everyone sitting out there in the presence of Parikshit Maharaj would be the secondary medium to carry Bhagavatam further. So as we know, Shukadeva Goswami spoke to Parikshit Maharaj, and in the association was Suta Goswami, who then took it and spoke to all the other. Shaunaka Rishi was there, and Suta Goswami was there, who then spoke to all the other sages in Naimisharanya. And from the sages of Naimisharanya, so many other descendants came to hear about the Bhagavatam. From Vyasadeva, it came down to the disciplic succession, to different disciples of his, and came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who made for his line and his followers this work as the primary evidence of the philosophy. Usually in every sampradaya, every acharya writes a commentary on the Brahma Sutras. The Brahma Sutra, as we know, are these axioms that encapsulate the entire Vedic knowledge. And sutras are important because to remember the whole text is not easy, but remembering sutras is easier. But these sutras need commentary. And every acharya writes them. Ramanujacharya wrote, other acharyas wrote. By the time it came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said there's no need to write. Vyasadeva has already written it. And that's the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the best explanation of the Brahma Sutra. However, in Rajasthan, that was the seat of the Ramanadis. Ramanandis sometimes they're called. At this time when we went to Chitrakoot, we all stayed in one of the Ramanandis ashrams. Very beautiful ashram, not far from Chitrakoot area, clean, nice, and they're all followers of Ramanandis. Their original preceptor is considered to be Hanuman. But anyway, the Ramanandis are very bona fide sampradaya, and they had challenged the Gaudiya sampradaya that you're not authentic because you don't have a commentary on the Brahma Sutras. And so all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas explained that the Bhagavatam itself is self-sufficient as the commentary. We don't need another commentary. That's what our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. But the environment was politically surcharged, and the Ramanandis were insisting that if you don't have your own commentary, we cannot accept the authenticity of your line. So at that time, word spread. And word spread to Vrindavan, because from Jaipur, Vrindavan is not that far. And Vrindavan was the seat of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So when the word reached Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he was asked by all the Vaishnavas, please respond to this, do something about it. He said, I'm very aged. I don't have the physical strength or interest to debate this topic, although it's an important topic. So his follower, or his disciple, if you will, Baladev Vidyabhushana, he requested, may I go and try to solve this matter? So he said, okay, go ahead. Baladev Vidyabhushan, before he became a Gaudiya Vaishnav, was a very staunch Madhvacharya follower. And in Madhvacharya's particular line, they are ultra conservative and very, very strict about their ritualistic practices. But when we heard about Radha Krishna's pastimes, and that there's a whole range of understanding beyond the tattva, because Madhvacharya's followers are also called tattvavadis. But there is something beyond that is, in one sense, far more nectarian. He came from wherever he was towards Orissa, where Jagannath Puri is, and he met the Gaudiya Vaishnavas there, and became completely enthralled and captivated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. And so was searching for an appropriate teacher, because he was already a sannyasi, liberated like anything, and still he was looking for the appropriate teacher. And somehow he found Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and became his student. Excuse me. So when he went to Jaipur and became part of this debate, they said, no, unless you have a commentary, we will not accept the authenticity of your line. So he went to Radha Govinda temple, Govindaji temple. Have you been there? Such a fascinating temple. Beautiful deities. Very powerful deities. They were Rupa Goswami's deities. Because Rupa Goswami worshipped Radha Govinda Dev. He was the one who found Radha Govinda Dev, worshipped him, and when the Muslim leaders were attacking Vrindavan and all the temples there, Radha Govinda were smuggled in a hay cart, a cart full of hay and other things, smuggled out of Vrindavan into Jaipur, and became the principal deities of the palace of Jaipur, Raja Jai Singh, Man Singh's. So he went to Govindaji temple and prostrated in front of the deity, crying that how unfortunate situation that has come about, that people are challenging Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's line and its authenticity. It's a very, very difficult time in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lineage. Please help. Because if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lineage is not, lineage in the sense of parampara, is not accepted, then people will not get access to the fascinating and amazing depth of philosophy of Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes. That's one fear. The other fear is even worse, that people will hear Radha Krishna's pastimes and take it very lightly and imitate it in a very, very mundane way. So please do something. Please do something. And when he went back to meet the Ramanandis, he somehow in that back and forth debate said to them, I will write a commentary. So they all laughed, said, all right, you have 3 days time, write a commentary on Brahma Sutra. So generally a commentary on Brahma Sutra is a lifetime's work. An Acharya does something for almost a lifetime and leaves behind. Like in Prabhupada's life, we see he started writing the Bhagavatam, and then with all the preaching and moving around the world and health and writing at night, he had this, in a matter of years, he had to finish quickly. Came up to the 10th canto. So it's not easy it's not writing a little essay. They said 3 days time. So came back to Radha Govinda's temple and started crying. How is it possible that in 3 days I have to write an entire volume of philosophy called commenting on the Brahma Sutras? It's not possible, yet it is supposed to happen. The only way to preserve the pride of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's line. So Radha Govinda Dev spoke to him at night in his dream that I will dictate to you, you simply write. And so in 3 days, an entire commentary was written and handed over to the Ramanandis. And the Ramanandis, when they looked at it, they couldn't find any flaw, they couldn't find any argument, because it was perfect. So they asked him, what's the name of your work? What are you going to call it? He said, it's going to be called Govinda Bhashya. Because Govinda spoke it. And all I did was, I was the scribe. So in a matter of 3 nights, the entire volume of work was handed over. So it's a very, very fascinating situation. So in that way, the propagation of the Srimad Bhagavatam, that is critical for humanity, was maintained. And therefore, such emphasis on the Srimad Bhagavatam. So had Shukadeva Goswami not spoken it, it would have not come out the way we wanted it to come out. And Shukadeva Goswami was the right person to speak it to Parikshit Maharaj. So from the beginning, all the way down to our time, we should understand that the propagation of Srimad Bhagavatam is particularly Krishna's will. And that will is very strong. So whether we do it or not, it shall happen. And if we do it, great for us. As Krishna says to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, this entire armies that you see ahead of you, they're already defeated. The Pandavas have already won the war, because this is what I want. Now Arjuna, you can participate in it and get all the glory. You don't participate, still the same outcome is going to happen. So all you have to do is be an instrument. Be an instrument in my will, or be an instrument of my will. So the purpose of, I guess, us as followers of Srila Prabhupada is to first know and understand and appreciate that will and participate in it. Participate in whatever way. There's no particular this way, that way, but participate in it. But starting with assimilating the Bhagavatam for our own self. Very critical. And assimilating the Bhagavatam is not only that we are aware of certain verses, or we are aware of the pastimes. But the most critical part of the Bhagavatam is it tells us the process by which Krishna becomes our own. It shows us the process and the method by which we become very dear to Krishna. And it prepares us for the day-to-day and the big challenges of life. The big challenges is reversals, disappointments, betrayals, our plans getting shattered right in front of our eyes, etc., etc. This is what life is going to be like, and how to respond and how to conduct ourselves on a day-to-day basis. Without the Bhagavatam as a support, it's absolutely impossible to conduct life in this present time. Another is, yesterday someone shared with me that I have a fear that when I become close to Krishna, or if I become close to Krishna, I will be tested very badly. And when I look at all the stories and pastimes of people who close to Krishna were tested like anything, I'm afraid. So I'm hesitating from becoming close to Krishna. So I shared, well, I understand tests will come. Tests will come anyway, whether you're close to Krishna or not. But let's look at it from a bigger perspective, that those who are close to Krishna are very strong. Because by Krishna's association, one becomes or one gets Krishna's strength. And so if you notice in the Bhagavatam, however difficult the situation they're in, these devotees are very, very strong. They're very resilient. They don't get easily crushed. So that is what is the benefit or gift of becoming close to Krishna. And the process is simply hearing about Him. The more Krishna Katha there is, the more stronger a person is. That's just how it works. So we're very, it's important, Shukadev Goswami, that he spoke the Bhagavatam, and thereon it was propagated. And now it's easily available to anyone and everyone in any language everywhere around the world. So assimilating it and sharing it, studying together, studying with someone, giving it to someone, etc., etc. It's this fascinating book or work, body of work that has that is so critical to human life. And so Vyasadeva, before he put it all together, he considered, and that's there in the 7th chapter of the 1st canto, Ya sammohito jivam. He saw that all the living entities are completely messed up. I think it's the best description of it. Atmanam trigunatmakam. So he said that the 3 modes of nature have completely entrapped every living being. How to free them out of it? It's the Bhagavatam. So anyway, those are some thoughts. Any comments or questions? Yeah, Karunanidhi.
I have doubt that Ramanandis, they belongs to which category? Like
they are supposedly an offshoot of Sri Vaishnavism.
Second?
An offshoot, a branch of Sri Vaishnavism. Sri Vaishnavism.
Sri Vaishnavism. And regarding that, about that Vyasadeva's birth, so that means Parasara Muni had impregnated Satyavati by just seeing. By seeing Satyavati. So, he was born in natural way, or like Karna was born through years. like that I was confused.
What's the question? How was Vyasadeva born?
Come on. You said that he remained inside womb for long times.
Shukadeva Goswami.
Ah, yes, Sukadeva.
Not Vyasadeva. Shukadeva
Sorry,
Goswami. The purport says Shukadeva Goswami stayed in the womb for 12 years and did not come out.
Then who was the mother of Sukadeva Goswami?
Who was the mother of Shukadeva Goswami? Is the daughter of Jabali. You know who's Jabali? One of the disciples of Gautama Rishi. You know, the son of Jabali? You don't know that story? Gautama Rishi once was met by a young boy who said, "Will you accept me as a disciple?" And Gautama Rishi asked, "What is your gotra?" Basically means, who's your father? So he went to his mother and asked, "Who's my father?" And the mother said, "I don't know. I've been with a lot of men. But you can tell him that you're the son of the mother who's from the town of Jabali." So he went back and told him, "I am the son of my mother who's from Jabali. I don't know who my father is." So Gautam Rishi said, to be able to say that in public requires a great sense of courage, and that only comes from a Brahmana seed. So I will accept you. And he became known as Jabali. So his daughter became the wife of Vyasadeva. Yes, Mataji. Oh, there's Shankar Pandit Prabhu behind. Shankar Pandit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. You made the point that the devotees of the Lord, in the association of the Lord Himself, become strong. Therefore, they can prevail against all odds and adversities, etc. So, of course, today being Nityananda Trayodashi Mahotsav, there's one very nice statement that says, Nayam Atma Bala Hinena Labhyaha, that without bala or strength, one cannot accomplish anything in devotional service. So when Srila Prabhupada would often quote this particular Vedic mantra, he indicated that this bala or strength refers to Lord Balaram. And of course, Lord Balaram, being Krishna's first expansion, acts as the original principle of Guru Tattva, or the principle of being spiritual master. And of course, Balaram, Hoilo Nitai. And that same Lord Balaram has appeared as Nityananda Prabhu. So Srila Prabhupada would often speak on Nityananda Prabhu's glories, emphasizing that Nityananda Prabhu is a supplier of the devotee's spiritual strength. And of course, Nitya Ananda, being eternally or perpetually happy or ecstatic, also gives that happiness or ecstasy to the devotee. So two things are being supplied by Nityananda Prabhu or Balaram. The spiritual strength by which one can prevail over all odds, and then the happiness of bhakti. Ha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi, as Narottam Das Thakur sings, say, my dear Nityananda Prabhu, you're always happy, Nityananda. Therefore, I'm approaching you because I'm feeling dukhi. I'm feeling unhappy or I'm distressed on account of this material identification. Please take me under your shelter and give me happiness. So I just thought that was an interesting point that you made, that the devotees of the Lord, in the association of the Lord, gain that spiritual strength by which they can transcend all odds. And that strength is ultimately coming from Krishna's first expansion, Balaram, who appears as Nitai, Nityananda. I thought the class would have been entirely devoted to Nityananda Prabhu, but
There's a class at 11 o'clock, that's why.
11 o'clock.
11:30.
11:30.
As part of the Abhishek and discussion. So I was asked to speak on the Bhagavatam particularly.
Just a very simple question. What is the precise reason that Srila Sukadeva Goswami created the duplicate? And the mention there is that duplicate continued on into married life. So was it for the purpose of continuing that line, or some sort of satisfaction to Vyasadeva?
I have no idea. Possibly the latter. I have no idea. I didn't even know there was a duplicate until I read long ago this 9th canto. I was like, there are 2. Very nice. Why did Shukadeva Goswami create his own duplicate? Was it for continuing the line of Vyasadeva, or what was the other one? Some sort of satisfaction to Vyasadeva that his son also should be part of family life. I think we read the purport just before you came and discussed it, but the particular question is, what is the reason for him to create a duplicate? What happened is clear.
Because shortly after Shukadeva Goswami's birth, he immediately left home.
Yes,
He didn't want to undergo any of the reformatory samskara methods. But Srila Vyasadeva, his father, was pleading with them, no, you must execute all these different Vedic yagyas and samskaras. So at that time, Shukadeva Goswami created a duplicate form of himself, and that duplicate form remained at home and fulfilled all the different Vedic yagyas, samskaras, etc. Whereas the original Shukadeva Goswami wandered about as an avadut, completely unattached to anything and everything.
So Vyasadeva satisfaction, I guess, that's what it is. Yeah, Charanishta.
I'm just trying to gather my thoughts through. You were mentioning how the Bhagavatam should be and will be propagated whether we want to be part of it or not. It's Krishna's wish. So I was wondering how you see the future development of ISKCON through the next many, many years, because we hear that there's a golden age of 10,000 years. So we're in a very beginning phase, and our movement is growing. We're also facing challenges. And so looking as into Kali Yuga progresses, how do you see the role of ISKCON in the world?
I am in the category of people that is described in the Bhagavatam as Kalau Nashtadrusham Esha. People who have a distorted vision. I couldn't even read the purport clearly today. So what to speak of larger vision of things. Nashtadrusham. So I don't think I have a particular insight into how ISKCON will grow. I have my fair share of complaints. I have my fair share of what I think needs to be worked out. At the same time, I have a great hope. The great hope is, as much as there are negatives to what's called organized religion, there are as many benefits. What many people can do together is almost impossible for one person or a few people to do by themselves. There's a synergistic effect. So setting aside all my own personal sense of, I said, complaints or challenges or issues, setting that aside for a moment, I do find that our movement has been able to be more relevant to people with people who are thoughtful, I should say. And there is a lot more emphasis to personal cultivation in one sense than to sort of just jump in, or thoughtful pursuance of Krishna consciousness than to just jump in. And that jumping in is sometimes in an immature sort of way. What worked 50 years ago, same principles, I shouldn't say principles, the same methodology may not work. A difficult part actually is how to practice Krishna consciousness in such a way that that you're part of the society at large and not seen as someone totally cut off from it. Because the whole phase of, I should say, a large part of who we are and how we deal with public needs to become a far more relatable way, where people don't see us as a monk or someone so different that they have to cross over a very big divide between them and us. Not just as brahmacharis, but any one of us. People have that. Have you noticed? I'm sure you have, right? In your now that you are in certain environments where you see people's views, although they're very well intentioned, their views and lifestyles, and what it takes for them to put pieces together. Some people, for some sense, they want to be very conscious of how they live, but some pieces don't fit together. So they will for it all to come together. It's quite a challenge in how they live, how they conduct themselves, how we conduct ourselves, etc. So that's one part as far as relating to the public. Within our own selves, or within the house, I anticipate a phase of, I don't know the right answer, I'm just sharing what's been my recent contemplation. So there's no right or wrong answer. Before us, in one sense, things were very easy because there was only one spiritual master, that was Prabhupada. And everyone followed his directive. For us in this particular generation, one of the challenges is there are many spiritual masters, which is a fantastic thing, and that's how it should be. But there are also challenges with that. And so as there are more spiritual masters, the reach and spread is fantastic, but then there are these sometimes immature views of our sense of camaraderie. The generations, if you take a little later, we are at that cusp where from one spiritual master, we're entering into a phase of multiple spiritual masters. So whenever there is a cusp, right, at the sandhis, things are a little unstable, if you will. Because transitions are very not easy. If you take 2 generations down from us, so Prahlad's, let's say, in the next generation, you take the generation after. Definitely who Prabhupada is still very prominent and a very special place. But in terms of a daily sense, having multiple spiritual masters and all that is just how life will be. And so hopefully people will be far more united towards a mission than a particular person's view of things. I hope that's the case. That who my guru is more of an internal and not my peg for my camaraderie. Another way, guru groupism is what I'm talking about. Unless we get beyond that, we cannot work as a cohesive unit. How Bhagavatam, now in a broader context, some of the things I've been thinking, how Bhagavatam will become, people will find ways and means in which the stories of the Bhagavatam will be more of the forefront. There's quite an integration in the Western thought and the Eastern thought. People are far more accepting of beings from another place. Of course, how they're portrayed is a different issue. But if you see nowadays, especially within the yoga circles, people's acceptance of Chinese things, Indian, or whatever, is coming closer. And I think there'll be sort of what is called a one world economy where the borders are not so distinct, people and companies and people moving back and forth. So it'll have its own challenges. But as far as ISKCON, it is also time for the younger generation to step in. And I honestly believe, not that I don't mean it in a wrong way, but I think it is also time for the older generation to step out. Not in a bad way step out, but that they hand over the baton to the younger generation. I also believe, this is my views, so it can be completely off track. My view is very much that sannyasis should not be in management. And if they also have the status of guru, they should not be in management. I mean, not that anyone's going to listen to me, but this is my view of things. Then it allows for gurus and sannyasis to travel and preach freely without being pegged to or affiliated to a particular place. They're there as resources for any place that needs association and help. And all of management of the organization must be done by grahasthas or brahmacharis, if you will. It will be a very, very good model. Another piece, of course, is similar, it's easily said, but it's not easily done. Another is the flow of money within our movement. Because any organization without an economy, it doesn't survive well. So the way money flows into the organization is clear and there's ample flowing in, right? If you ask people in the world, what do you think of ISKCON? They'll say it's one of the richest organizations, which is true if you look at all the temples that are there. So money flowing in is one thing, but how money flows within the organization is a whole different topic. So there are certain pockets within the organization that are very rich. And there are many pockets that are somehow barely making it. So someone needs to look at the economy. So I'm more of a proponent of you fix the house first before you invite guests. You have a plumbing problem, you have an electric problem. You fix those things before you have guests. So I feel that there is enough to be done to fix the house in one sense. Because on one hand, there are grihasthas of Prabhupada's generation or disciples who've given their life to serving Prabhupada as full-time devotees, and they have absolutely no money. Absolutely no money, almost at the brink or even declared bankruptcy. That should not be the case. It should be designed in such a way, which right now at this point is perhaps what's called wishful thinking. But it should be such that anyone who wants to give their full time to the explicit missionary activity, and every temple should be thriving financially. If the money flows the right way. I didn't say the right way, if the money flows in a particular way. The economy is a very important thing. Those are some of my thoughts. But they're all Bhagavatam principles, because Bhagavatam says, right, a good society is that which is designed in such a way that resources and money flows according to one's vritti. So, some people call it varnashram system. I don't know much about it. I'm not a good, I'm not well educated in what a varnashram system means and all the different nuances of it. It's far too big for my small brain. I don't think I answered your question particularly, but you set me here. I'm also a little careful, so I'm not putting it out there, because it's broadcast. Half people will hear one sentence here, it'll go somewhere else. I think I've tried to conveniently relieve myself of all the nuances of you said this on that day, and I think I want a more peaceful life. So I'm being cautious. Perhaps without being on live camera, I might say it a little differently, but I just don't want to keep defending my answers here. And I'm not in that space right now. So, but I still said it. It is what I'm thinking. Sorry. Oh, Mataji.
I was just interested in that particular aspect that you were describing, at least in terms of your view, is one of the things that should happen. So that idea of the handing over of the old God to the new God, so to speak, isn't that actually something that whole body of persons have spent their entire life in preparation for?
Unfortunately, I don't know. I would like to believe yes, but I don't think that's the answer. Until about 5-7 years ago, there was this whole committee put together by the GBC called the succession planning. So it occurred to them that they may not be around too long, and what to do. So they've done many discussions and they've had wonderful ideas. Succession is not easy. It's very difficult. If you take Mahabharata, just as an example, it's not like it's a current issue. Succession is a very challenging issue from the beginning. If you take Mahabharata, who should be the next king was such a difficult answer. And there were contenders. Duryodhan wanted to be king. Duryodhan's father wanted to be king, but he was blind, so they made Pandu the king. So there's all this animosity festering on this side. Then came to Duryodhana, who didn't want Yudhishthira to be the king. You go even before that to Ramayana. Lord Ram was supposed to be the king. Kaikeyi did not like it. There's a whole thing. So it's not always easy to hand over. But one should be thinking about it. And thinking and devising ways and means is not easy. And it's not like you turn on a switch and boom, the old gods go away and suddenly the new gods come in. On the higher system of things, that's how it happens. New Manu comes and the new gods come in. But some people are still there. Some people want to give up. But the biggest challenge is they don't know who to succeed it to. That's one of the challenges. And from the side of our generation, let's say persons like me hesitate to take on something because I want to see a few things changed before I step in. So it's that kind of, I shouldn't say stalemate, but a challenge is step in first, things will change. And some persons like me will say, first change and then I'll step in. Because how do I know that once I step in, if nothing changes, I've signed up for something that I don't like? So it's that kind of tension, at least from my perspective. Someone else may think of it differently. I was asked, step in, learn this. I said, I would love to, but I have a few things to take care. And I also want to see a few things changed and accepted and at least acknowledged. But it may not be like that. So I said, well, we'll wait and see. I'm not in any rush. Right? Okay. Not an easy topic, but thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.